his eyesight went. So then but he could still walk. So he would hold along the walls and just feel his way. And he was very busy, he was really busy. He really, it was kind of like having a toddler, but in this big boy body. We had to baby-proof the house. We had to block off the kitchen with couches. You couldn't just do it with a simple mechanism like you could for a baby. So we used big objects and items. We had to put away glass things. We had to baby-proof it for his own safety. It was very challenging just trying to keep him safe. By September, he wore nappies full time. It slowly started within the evenings, and in the day he kind of managed, and eventually, we progressed to wearing nappies full time by September. I think it was about, his vision was it wasn't an overnight thing. You could see it. It was slowly went. So like the first initial sign where I saw was when I gave him a plate of food and he'll eat everything on the one side and he'll say, "Mom, I'm done." And he actually can't see the food on the other side of the plate. And then there was the one eyeball that you could see just kind of drift off and not be focused any longer. So, when it came to his hearing and his vision, it was kind of a slow progression of it. And I can't tell you exactly when things got extremely bad or, he walked actually, I would say, till about Feb, quite strong. Coordination was out, he would aim for the doorway, but slightly the door frame, but he was walking till about Feb. March, he struggled a bit with walking. You could see the legs were a problem for him. He would walk a bit and then he would just kind of sit down on his knees, and then he would walk a bit and sit down, and you could see he needed some assistance in March. By the end of March, he struggled with swallowing. Initially, the swallowing was only just water that was difficult, and within about 2 weeks, it progressed to him not being able to swallow anything. That was quite a stressful time for me because every day you're waking up and it's like, what are you going to try today? So, you're trying some mashed bananas, you're trying yogurt, you're trying anything. And I was keeping the doctors updated with what was going on. In the same time, while he was struggling to intake food, he was getting constipated. He obviously wasn't getting enough fiber, and I couldn't treat the constipation. When I treated it, then it just reoccurred. It was this vicious cycle. So that was quite a challenging time. It was about 2 weeks, and the doctor gave us the go-ahead to come into hospital. When we came into hospital, he then had the NGT tube put in, and they dehydrated him. They treated him for constipation. So they just wanted to kind of get him a bit strong. So he had treatment. He came out. He was at home for a week, and then he was booked for surgery for his Mickey tube. So
the G tube, right? The G tube, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he had that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was the 2nd or so of April, end of March, beginning of April, he was in hospital for the Mickey tube. So they actually done 2 surgeries. They did the Mickey tube and Nissen surgery. So the Nissen surgery is taking a piece of the tummy and actually wrapping it around the pipe that goes up. And what it does is it prevents reflux. Typically, they don't do the 2 surgeries together. Usually, they'll do the tube, and only if it becomes the issue later on, they would do the Nissen surgery. But because the disease is progressive and we don't know how stable he would be later on, they thought it would be best to do it together, which I think was a very good decision. So he was in for surgery. Alhamdulillah, surgery was successful. We came home, and after that big surgery, it definitely took a knock. He didn't walk at all. He didn't stand. He could only wave his right arm. and he was a lot less animated. So prior to that, you could tickle his chin, you'll get a smile, and you would get something, and we got less. So it was quite challenging from an emotional perspective, because it was a lot less him. Where we are today is it's just again so as from surgery he's been bedridden, but what has worsened over time is his muscle stiffness. So while he done the surgery, they actually did some Botox for him because it was evident. But the Botox, they said, I'm not sure. It's still quite soon to say that it's out of his system, but the muscle stiffness has gotten bad. So we are taking the muscle relaxers. I think most families I know as well are doing like your gabapentin, your baclofen, and we're doing physio. So we're doing what we can, but the muscle stiffness is a reality. I said the baclofen was a bit of a game changer for us. Before that, he had a lot more discomfort from muscle stiffness. Once we started the baclofen, his discomfort, I can count, a couple a week of moments where he would express something. So the baclofen was a good game changer. And yeah, so that's kind of where we are with him today. It's been very quick. I mean, this month, the 1st of June, marked a year. And, just to reflect back a year ago, he was walking, talking, eating, expressing himself, doing all these things. It has been very, very quickly.
But you did amazing job. I've watched and I've seen your campaign when you were searching for donors in the hope that he can have the bone marrow transplant. It was really amazing.
Yeah, I think as parents, you're very quick to go into survival mode, and you will grab onto anything to assist your kids. And it was a no-brainer. My amazing family and friends and colleagues campaigned, so strongly. So it's really been that has been quite a success. Unfortunately, Abu Talib's low score was too high to proceed with its stem cell transplant. In his case, also.
Yeah, sorry for interruption. I was about to ask you how was his low score when you discovered or when he was diagnosed?
His low score on diagnosis was 14.
14, yeah.
Yeah. His low score on diagnosis was 14. So it was a bit on the higher end. We went to see a hematologist, and I think the only concern at the time was a lot also how Abu Talib would cope with being in surgery and going through that process even, because by then, like I told you, he was cognitively not present. He was very difficult to examine. Trying to contain him to a hospital room would have been impossible. So, but it really just wasn't on the cards for him, because the low score wasn't, it was too high, and there was also no match. So I think, just looking at what was, the information that we had, it gave me a bit of like, okay, this, if it was to be that we needed to do it, then something would have pointed us to the direction. But
exactly.
I took some comfort in that it is, that's how things turned out for him. With Ayub's case, his younger brother, he obviously, Abu Talib was diagnosed, and within the same week of his diagnosis, I got Ayub diagnosed. His diagnosis was initially through the ACTH levels